Great day, everybody. How are you? I'm Sandler Francois, your favorite divorce professional, and I'm going to get right to it because lately, especially since the last video, and shout out to everyone that subscribed, everyone that checked out the videos, and all the people that have reached out from just all over the place, that whether you're a client of my office or not, you said they've been helpful. I put my own divorce story online. Check it out. You can go back, you can go forward. The story's almost over, and I'm going to be sharing other stories of brave people who have gone through difficult divorces themselves, and they have amazing stories that'll both inspire you and make you possibly even reconsider the divorce process, because some of the stories don't necessarily end in divorce. But let's get right into it, because if you're here, you pretty much know who I am, what I do. You should like, subscribe, all those things that I'm told to tell you to do. They're actually very helpful. And if you care about other people, you will hit that like button, you'll subscribe, and the YouTube algorithm will spread it out all over the place. But if you only care about yourself, I get it. That tends to be most of us. We tend to care about ourselves. So I'm going to get right to the subject at hand. I hope you do learn to care about other people. Don't just care about yourself. This world wasn't just made for you. It was made for you to share who you are and the gifts you have, because that's another story. Don't be selfish is the point. Get out of your own way. So why is your divorce taking so long? I wrote a few notes. Why is your divorce taking so long? I think my last video might have triggered some of you. I don't even think some of you even watched it. You just looked at the subject in the email, if you're an email subscriber, and you felt I was talking to you. And then I got a lot of calls from the office, to the office rather, and I want to say this. I love all of you. I love all of you. I like most of you. I love all of you. I like most of you. There are people I don't like, but that's not the point here today. And you don't have to like me, but we're going to respect each other in this process, because I'm going to tell you something that you need to hear, and it's very likely something I've told you before. But it might be a little bit more fast-paced. It might not be the nicey nice kind Sandler, but it's going to be the Sandler that loves you and that always tells you straight up what it is. So you're wondering why your divorce is taking so long. You paid all this money and you've been waiting, and sometimes that you're just wondering what's going on. So I get calls, that's fine. I get emails, that's great. And I get inquiries. Why is my divorce taking so long? I'm gonna give you a few reasons. Got my notes here, and let's get into it. Reason number one, COVID. Guess what? Coronavirus is still here. But forget the fact that it's here. Forget vaccinations and masks and all that stuff. But COVID has wreaked havoc on the entire world, and things are not what they used to be. So long story short, even though we're all walking around with no masks and we're feeling comfortable again and we're trying to find a new normal, the courts and many businesses are still trying to catch up. But in this case, the court's very much trying to catch up. And you have to understand, there's no way the court's going to all of a sudden catch up on over 2 years of divorces that were either held up before COVID, filed when the courts did reopen, and then after that, the rush of filings that happened when the court fully reopened overwhelmed the court system. I promise you, call them. They'll tell you the same thing. They may not be as nice or as honest as I am, but they'll tell you that you gotta wait. And why do you have to wait? Because COVID wreaked havoc on the entire world, and especially on the divorce process that you care about so much, which is your own. So that's something for you to keep in mind. You may say, COVID's over. I'm back at work. I got vaccinated, or I didn't get vaccinated. And guess what? I'm okay. That has nothing to do with your divorce. You have to wait because the court is processing it as soon as possible. I would love to move forward and show you a magic wand that I may have that may rush the process, but this is really a test of your patience. I want to say something to you. You may not like this, but I hope you appreciate it. There was something I read in the Bible that talks about patience, and it says patience isn't how you act. Pardon me. It says patience isn't the act of waiting. It's how you act while you're waiting. I'll say it again. Patience isn't just waiting. It's how you act while you're waiting, because everybody has to wait for something. But your attitude, your demeanor, and your thoughts, that determines whether you're patient or not. So patience isn't waiting, but look at how you're acting while you're waiting. Are you calm? Are you preparing for your new life? Are you doing all the recovery that comes with divorce? Are you seeking therapy? Are you explaining to the kids what life is going to be like, that you're going to co-parent with their with your former spouse? There's a lot of things that you can be doing in the process. Pardon the noise in the background. There was no professional preparation for this, but the information is valuable. Are you doing all the other things that shows you're patient while the bread is in the oven baking. What's that bread? Your divorce. So patience. And especially coming out of COVID, patience is very important. And I'm sure just in life, you've had many times where people have been patient with you. I'm not asking you to be patient with me. I'm not signing your divorce. I did my job. You're waiting for the court, and you have no choice to be patient. So COVID. Number two, some of you, your divorces were signed and completed. You actually saw on the website, or I called you and I said congratulations, or I simply informed you, because you always don't say congratulations to people when they're getting divorced, right? I informed you divorce is done. So then I get a call from you and I tell you this is going to be a process. Just because the judge signed it on Monday doesn't mean you could run down to the court and pick it up Tuesday. Let me let you in on some inside knowledge. When it comes to a divorce, it gets signed by the judge. Then it goes downstairs to the county clerk, where not only your divorce, but hundreds, amongst thousands of divorces have to be processed and entered into the system before it's available for you to pick up. So yes, you could see it online. You can see proof that it's done. And the court will even tell you it's done. But there's a process. And again, because of staffing, because of the backlog, I just found out recently that specifically in New York County, Manhattan, where over 90% of our successful divorces are done, once your divorce is done, it's taking 2 or 3 months, or maybe even 4 months actually, for the divorce to be ready to be picked up. I just learned this, and I'm a student to the process. That's what makes me a master of the process, the fact that I keep learning, and I'm sharing new information with you. So hopefully you got to this point in the video and you realize that there is a process afterward. I know many of you are already getting married again for some reason. No judgment, marriage is beautiful, but there's a reason why you might have to wait. And it might be because your divorce is signed, but you have to wait a few more months for it to be publicly available. Let's continue. Number 3, only 2 more points. You're the reason why your divorce is taking so long. I always outline 4 simple steps. It's an interview, you sign, your spouse signs, or they get served, and then you sign again. How to get divorced fast? Interview, you sign, we take it to court. Your spouse signs, hopefully, that's the fastest way to get divorced, or your spouse gets served, and that adds time to it. We could talk about that in another video. And then you sign the final documents before they go to court. 4 simple steps that should be fast. And the number one thing I get from people a lot of times when they call, they said, oh, my spouse is going to sign. Oh, this is going to be easy. Oh, this is going to be the easiest divorce you ever had. That is the number one trigger in my mind that said, this is going to be a headache. This is going to be a problem. And this is not going to go fast. And I tell you, don't say that, because every time people say that, they're the ones whose divorces take the longest. And I'm not blaming you. I'm just realizing I've been divorced myself. I know how long it takes. And I went through a tougher divorce than most of you. Believe me, mine took way longer than all of yours. And believe me, I contributed to my divorce taking long, whether it be because of your emotion, your attitude. Sometimes you guys disappear on me altogether because you have financial issues, and that's okay. We all do. But you got to admit, you contributed to the process. If you're a business owner out there, put a 1 in the comments or tell me that you understand this when I say this. A lot of times, when people finish paying you all their money, they all of a sudden think everything's supposed to happen like this. But they took you a million years to pay you or to pay the court. But all of a sudden, because they paid you, they think everything's supposed to go speedy fast, or they're supposed to be the top of your list. I'm sorry to say, everyone's important, but it's up to me to determine the priority. And you sometimes have taken a bit time to contribute to your own process. And I'm patient. I love you. I call you to remind you that I'm waiting for you. And some of you have disappeared for months or even a year at times, and it's okay. But don't forget that once you keep paying, or you finish paying rather, and the divorce has been filed, that you contributed to everything that kind of took for it to get to this point. And you somehow forget, and you call me only 2 months later and say, hey, how's my divorce going? Is it done? Reality check, people. It doesn't work like that. Simple as that. You contributed to the process too. So the same way I have been patient with you, and maybe even sometimes the court has been patient with you to deliver proof, evidence, signed paperwork, you somehow lose track of the fact that, again, patience is the virtue that seems to keep coming up in this video, right? So again, this is done with love. I'm trying to help you realize, don't get mad at me. Don't call me. Don't call me talking about this. I'd rather you comment. Don't even send me an email. Let people know what you think in the comments below. Because at the end of the day, this is the truth. So let's go to the last point. This is probably the only mistake I've made. The only mistake I've made. I've been doing this over 15 years and I've done over 1,000 divorces. And you know the biggest mistake I've probably made? The biggest mistake I've made is I tell you the following. I say it all the time. I don't say it any different. All 500 or 1,000 of you watching or whoever's watching, if you've spoken to me, you've heard me say this. I tell you how long it takes the day I take it to court or my couriers take it to court. The court tells me, based on this filing, this day, this is how long it's going to take. Approximately 6 months. Presently, it's 6 months. Somehow, you leave out the word approximately. You leave out the fact that I filed it with the court and you have proof of its filing. Some people actually have asked me to prove to them that it was filed, which is okay, fine. And you totally leave out the fact that that 6 months is something that is out of our control. Unless you're wearing a black robe and you're a judge, you can't control how long it's going to take. And I also get those people that say, my friend's divorce. You're not your friend. You weren't in your friend's marriage. You weren't in their business. So why are you concerned about how fast their divorce got done? I never understand that. You know, please don't let that affect you like Sandler's getting at you and like, oh, I'm going to call him and tell him he ain't everybody he think he is. No, I'm just saying, don't compare your life to somebody else's. Oh, if I would have paid more money or if I would have went to a big law firm. No, don't do that. These lawyers are my friends. And I know the court personnel personally. They're not going to do me any favors, but they know I understand the process and they know I'm very patient with them. So they give me all this insight so I can share it with you. Because at the end of the day, I will say this, I inform everyone. And I'll tell you people who aren't clients, if you want to know the status of your divorce, call the local matrimonial clerk. Tell them your index number and be prepared to answer their questions. And they'll very likely tell you where you are in the process. I give this to all of my wonderful clients. I give you the court's website and their phone number. And the funny thing is, I say this with a smile. When people call to check status, I say, well, how'd it go when you call the court using the same phone number that I use? Quiet. Crickets. They say, oh, I didn't call. I process over 50 divorces a month. If I really spent time using me or my staff to check on the status of every divorce every day, we wouldn't get any work done. That's why we like to empower people with the knowledge. We don't hide anything. A lot of law firms, they like to hold your business hostage so you can pay them. They're my friends. They'll find ways to try to charge you just for you to ask them a simple question. But I like to give you the information and they tell me I'm crazy. Why do you tell them how to find out the status of the divorce? Because a lot of those lawyers don't even file your divorce. They let your file sit on their desk for months. And then you can't get them on the phone. And then you think because you paid a couple $1,000s that you got a top-notch lawyer. Or hopefully, because they don't look like me, they look like something else, you think you got high-quality service. That's another story that has to do with mentality. But I got to tell you, at the end of the day, your divorce is yours. I'm not holding it hostage. And I want you to use this video to understand why your divorce is taking so long. Hope this was helpful. Hope you saw the love in it. Don't catch feelings. Feelings don't get you anywhere. The truth will. And I hope you've been set free. Till next time, God bless you. Always remember, the best in your life is yet to come. If it can happen for me, it'll happen to you. The good stuff, that is.